Hi guys, and welcome back in another episode of maxdmcrafting. In this episode we will have a closer look to my Whiterock castle. Stay a while and listen. So, Whiterock castle. This was my first big building, and actually I was quite, unresponsible to start such a big project. I had some parts from Warhammer Fantasy. I have destroyed actually the old fortified manor from Warhammer, and also I have some pieces from the fortress, the old Warhammer fortress, and actually I was using those pieces for quite a lot of projects. This is a very crazy stuff, guys. You are planning something and then you start build, and then you realize that you are in big trouble, okay? I took some inspiration from people that already used those pieces from Warhammer, and basically I redesigned my, fantasy idea of some castle. Actually, this project is designed to be put on the tabletop as a massive piece, and then I design all the level inside like a separate dungeon. The faster and easier way to make a big building playable. The particular structure of this project allows it also to be put as as an island in the sea. Those rocks have a very particular shape. Actually, this shape was not pre-planned, but was the results of not perfect coating of PVA glue on the foam. So basically, when I sprayed the acrylic black paint, the solvent inside basically melted a little bit the foam on the rocks, and I was very lucky because the result was this particular shape of the rocks. Another specific characteristic of this piece is that this castle started from the top and then I go down, okay? I was not starting from the base and then I built the castle going my way up, but actually I start with the pieces that I have in my mind, some of the top part of the castle, and then I started to go down, so this was quite difficult. But let's see some pictures. So now we will see in the specific some technique that I use for the bricks in this castle. Basically I use 3 different techniques and different materials for put together all the pieces. The main challenge was to have in mind the final result, because when you are working with such different materials during all the working process, you have the sensation that actually is just a weird agglomerate of different pieces. Then the magic comes when you use the black paint and finally all the piece comes together. Okay? But let's have a closer look to the bricks technique. So you see, these are actually pen drawn bricks. All of these, see? This column. This part is done with the textured pin roll by Green Stuff World, and I have many parts of the castle done like that. Okay, then you have this part. These bricks actually are carved by the hot wire, so they are actually melted. I choose to do in hot wire some parts of the castle, because when you see the castle from the distance, you need more depth in some corners, so you can still see the bricks even if you are far away. Then you have bricks that actually are from the pre-made pieces. For example, this piece is part of the fortified manor, Also this tower here, you see that is actually particular, don't have the bricks. Okay. And I have this tower that is part of the fortress by Warhammer Fantasy. See? Also I reuse this little part of the manor, and all those bricks are made by me. So this is actually, this part is pre-made, the down part, the bottom part is made by me. All this statue, you see, this one for the flags and this other one. Also this pillar with this statue here, you see. Those are extra bit pieces that I have always is my storage from old parts of Warhammer. But this pillar also, it's removable for playability, but also because I liked it very much, this statue, so you can use this part also inside some dungeon, you know, as embellishment or, I don't know, something like that. As I told you, I carved the rocks, but most of them were melted by the spray, giving this particular aspect. So actually this piece is good as an island piece. Now the garden was actually something that I added at the end because of the general shape. The castle with that garden seems more organic, seems more on the rocks. Without that, it was too much circular for my opinion, so I actually added this rocky garden. This is again a part of Warhammer Fantasy tree, so the real garden is without the tree. Okay, we have wheel, and then you have also a statue here. Now guys, let me turn the piece so we can see also the other part, okay? See you in a bit. Now, yeah, we start from the garden, you see, you enter the garden here. This seems life and death god, I don't know. I'm not very confident with the mythology in Warhammer. I don't know what statue is this one. Maybe you guys know who is this guy. But from this side actually you have an idea of the pieces that actually are pre-made. So we have, as I showed you before, this is the tower and the house of the fortified manor. Also on the top we have another piece of that. Then this one is the tower from the fortress, but actually I carved these two doors and I prepared this like a balcony without, you know, safety stuff. It's just because I'm planning to do another bridge here and do stuff like that. Also this wall, this long wall, is a part of the old fortress. So basically on the back side you have all the pre-made pieces from Games Workshop. Okay? But then you have a lot of parts, for example this connection part with these bricks and with these you know, prison windows that are made by me, all this part with this stair here, also the floor inside, because also inside you have the floor, you can see the floor inside. And then the challenge is to combine the pieces without you know, devastating the style of the general piece. this is my favorite side, because on this side you have all the possible technique for put all the piece together. So basically this is the fortress tower. Then we have the first handmade tower here, okay, with an access and a door and an access here on this rock balcony. You see? I love this chimney that is actually from the fortified manor. Very complex. I like complex chimney. Then you see, for cover the corners I put some of those bricks in this way. But look at that. Here you have the combination of all the pieces. You see? On this corner, on this side, you have something that is made by me, okay? On this other side is pre-made. Of course you have differences, but the general effect is very nice. You see, this corner is the perfect example of what you need to do for make the piece credible and actually like one piece, okay? Something that you don't notice very easily is this sewer entrance here. You see? You know, it's like a secret entrance or a secret exit for escaping from the castle during the gameplay. I need to take some miniatures for the scale, okay, so you can realize actually the dimension of this monster. Catch you in a bit. So, who we have here? This is Archeon on the horse. You see, this is a very classic piece from Warhammer Fantasy. One day I will show you also some of my miniatures. Then we have this Chaos Butcher here that I like a lot, with a lot of blood. You see the dimension? It's basically 28mm scale. And also we have a Witch Lord here on the black dragon. I discovered recently that this is actually a very rare piece from the first edition of Warhammer. Now, one of the particularity of this piece are also the doors. Couple of doors, for example this one, that are already pre-printed on the piece. Then you have other doors that are made by me, like this one, you see, this one. And also the main door of the Mastio is made by me. Basically I don't have one technique for doors, I have several techniques, so I don't know which one is my favorite one. I like all of them. The choice of the color, in my opinion, was also very correct and very lucky also, because for the first time I experimented this warm gray. It's like a brownish beigey gray that fits perfectly on the walls and part that you have made, in good contrast with the rocks that are actually painted like the normal technique shade of gray. The touch of green, in my opinion, is particularly fundamental for put in result all the piece, because without the green it's too match the same color. Now what you need to know about this project is that actually when I was crafting this, I was not thinking about the channel, not thinking about, you know, having a community. So basically I didn't shoot nothing during the work in progress, just a lot of pictures. Now I'm doing another building that is the Eagle Nest Castle, and on this building I'm trying to show you that actually no panic. I'm saying this because many people are just a little bit, you know, demotivated by such big projects. It's not a big deal, guys. It is just a matter of will. I want to, so I can do it. In big buildings you are just, you know, testing yourself and checking your art level and your skill level. So it's a good test for me.
Okay guys, this is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe this channel. Remember to support this channel through Patreon or PayPal. And yes, I think I see you all on the next episode. Till next time, happy crafting!